Hey, I'm here to show you how to carve a eagle cane head. So I've got an eagle cane head, or an eagle, or a blank cane that hasn't been carved yet, right here. And I'm going to make this into an eagle. I have already done a little pre-shaping on it. Normally these heads, when they come, will be flat. You know, your stick will be round. And you need to go ahead and put a shape on it. Now this one, the person that wants this one wants a nasty beak on it. So obviously he wants something that's pretty pointy. Normally when I do an eagle, I make them a little more rounded, but I'm going to make this one a little bit more pointy than some of the others. So basically what I need to do first is I use a disc sander. You could use a belt sander. You could use a belt sander. You could use a sander with a angle grinder. There's a lot of different things you can use. But what you're going to be doing is taking off some of the excess to save you a lot of extra work. So when I look at this one, I see this one's a little lopsided here. So try to flatten that down. Just a smidge. So basically, I'm going to take material off, create a point for the bill. Let's see if I can zoom in on this end. All right. Now you can see that I've got this shaped. We've got a pointy tip here, kind of a flow of what a bill would be, and then the head rounded. This side over here was raised up too high, so I kind of leveled it down so that they're close to each other. And now I'm going to go over here and do some marking on it to know where I'm going to put everything at. Okay. Now, I put some markings on the cane. As you'll see here, I've got a pencil line drawn here all the way across to the other side. And then I've got the top part of the wattle drawn right there. And just a rough eye for right now, and then the side of where the side of the beak will go. What I'm going to have to do is round this down. This will be indented here. This will be indented here. And then back in here for the eagle, we put feathers coming back this way in kind of a pointed pattern. And you may not exactly follow what you've drawn on here, but it just gives you an idea so you've got distance. And then in here is where you'll have an eye here, an eye here. These should be fairly even. It looks like I may need to do a little evening out right here, because when I was using the big belt sander, sometimes that's not 100% perfect. But we're going to video what I'm doing, and you'll get to see how I do it. I may not talk a lot while I'm doing it, but you can kind of see. I'll try to guide you through as I'm doing my work. Well, before I actually do some carving on this, let me show you some of the tools that I use to do my carving with. I do a lot of these canes with power carving simply because the wood's very tough for my knives and chisels to really work with, and it makes it so I could do things much quicker and easier, and they turn out pretty darn good. So one of my main tools that I use is this power grinder. And then I'll use a tip, which is basically a sand tip. It's basically sandpaper. This is the large. We have large, and then I have the small. And the small is hooked up to another small little grinder. And then I have a Dremel that I'll use various tips on it. Like this is my fine point tip that I use. So I'm using this for a lot of the shaping and some of the fine detail as well, because I can use the edges and it does pretty good. And this will really make the deep cuts and a lot of the other really fine detail, like around the eyes and stuff like that. You know, after I've made the beak mark with this, I'll finish up with this to get the depth. So basically I'm using a 1/4 horsepower flex shaft grinder, and then I've got my Dremel over here. I've got my Dremel, and with a flex shaft grinder, all I got to do is step on the foot pad, and it's working. And it removes material very quickly. So let me get started. As far as bits, there are several different bits that I use. I will use a very fine needlepoint bit. I will use a round bit. I will use an angle. This would be like using a V-cutter with carving tools. I'll use a ball. Then I'll use some cut saw tools too, and these remove a lot of material, just depending what the project that I'm working on is. I've got a variety of different bits that I use. Let's see if I got them in frame here. Okay. Oh, so you'll see I do use a variety of different bits. Here's a whole new 20-piece diamond point bit set that I bought, and this is the same set where I've been using, and I'm starting to burn them out a bit. And here's some of the Dremel sandpapers. Always make sure I got plenty of those, and you know, an okay amount of the small ones. These other ones that I have over here came from Harbor Freight, and they're not worth a flying flip. These Dremel ones last about 6 times as long as these things. I can use one of these and it'll be torn up in just under about 10 minutes. To where, you know, with these Dremel ones, you know, I can do several carving projects before I have to switch them out. So I recommend getting the better Dremel tools. Let's get started with some shaping. I'm going to attempt to do this where you can see it. I'm using the sandpaper Dremel, and I'm using the edge here. First I'll start with this one up here. I'm just putting little grooves across. Alright, I'm going to straighten this up. I go under the bill. Then I shake off the head a bit. Then I just keep shaping until it looks good. just work on it. Round off some of the sharp edges where they need to be rounded off. If you look and see what I've done so far, you see I'm using the grinder. I've taken the bill down. I've got my top wattle up here and the edge. So you see we're kind of shaped here just a bit. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start and put the back feathers in so I know where a stopping point is for this eagle's head. Then I'm going to do the eyes after that. Then I'll work on the indentation on the bill. So let me go ahead and to do these. Basically what I'm doing is I'm taking this angle grinder, putting it at an angle, and using it like a V tool to create my V's. So I'll take this spin like this. And I can use the top and the bottom as a V tool. It doesn't have to be just the top. If you look here, you see I've got the back feathers kind of put in. I still have a few more to go down here. Now once you put the feathers in, you're going to need to either do it now, and I'll probably take some of it out now. You want to get some indentations going here. You want to remove some of the stock so that they stand up and are more three-dimensional. And that'll give a better look to your bird too. Okay. Okay, I got to adjust this bill over here. So you're constantly adjusting and working your carving over when you see stuff. So to get this out in here, I'm just going down. Sometimes I have to turn at different angles to get in. Now if you look, you'll see I've got these more three-dimensional now. So it gives a better look, and then I'll smooth some of this out so it makes the head stand out separate. I wear my safety / reading glasses while I'm doing this, and I have to dust them off every once in a while because the sawdust builds up so thick on them. All right, so let me go ahead and do some of this shaping here. I'm going to show off the camera for a little bit because you don't need to see all of that. Now that I've got the basic back of the feathers all gouged out or raised, I'm going to take the fine detail tool and go along the edges here to make them stand out and pop a little bit more. And this is a Dremel. So basically I'm going on the inside of each one of these V's. Sometimes the wood will burn a little bit because I'm pushing it so hard with this grinder. Kind of rattles and makes a noise, doesn't it? A lot of times I like to put a glove underneath it that'll help with some of the vibration. Some of these angles underneath the cane can be quite difficult to get my tool in there properly. I'll do my best. Okay. Now, you'll see how more pronounced those feathers look. See, it's starting to shape up a little bit like a bird already. Let's continue on. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it out first. I'm going to put a pattern for the split in the beak. In other words, it's mouth opening. If you look here, it's kind of a curve up, and eagle's beaks look something like that. Okay, so I'm going to try it first with just my sharp point. A lot of times I'll use and I'll just do it the way I normally do it. I'll take the edge of this to get it started in there. And it depends on which side I'm on. I'll do it very lightly. That's all I want to do right now. Is make a trench for the other tool to work in. Then I'll take, it's a little too high. I don't like it quite that high for that. All right. Put about a medium height on this, or medium speed. Then I put the cane down. Now that I've got a guide trench, even with a guide trench, I gotta be extra supportive of this and go slowly. Okay, so I've carved that inside of that. side of the bill, and I'll get this side. I have to hit it from several angles in order to get a directions, I mean. Well, that's a good start. Now I'm going to take the smaller sanding bit. And I'm going to recess the bill, or the bottom beak some. I'll make sure I get my nice curve in the beak. Same with this side. I'm going to recess the bill, or the lower bill. Then I'll get my little arc here on the beak. And he was requesting a nasty beak, which I'm assuming that means he wants it extremely pointed. Next thing we're going to do are the eyes. So I'm going to start out with this one on this side, and I'll put my guide mark across. And then I'll make, well actually, this one I'm putting my guard across. They're going to put glass eyes into these. So I'm going to make little pilot holes. But I want to make the upper brow first. So we'll go ahead and start with that upper brow. And that's simple enough by taking my larger sanding bit here, and I'm going to just cut right on in here and leave that as an upper brow. And we do that on both sides. So if you take a look at this, you'll see I've cut a brow up here at the top, and I've done that on both sides. So if we can get a front look, hopefully that's focusing on that. We got our brows. Now with this one, since he wants to have a put glass eyes in it, I need to switch out to my small router bit. Okay, so we'll take out my needle, my point needle bit here. Well, first, before I do that, let me shape that brow just a little bit first. So I'm going to do the needle bit here. Is I'm just deepening the brow a bit more. Okay, that only took a moment or two. Let's go ahead and put our router bit in for the eyes. So basically, it's a straight bit. That's probably fuzzy, but it's a straight bit. And that's what I use to waller out the hole for the eyes. Clean my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing again. Now, what I do is I'll take one of these eyes that he uses, little, I'm not sure what size it is, size 8 I think. And I'll set it here so I can draw kind of a guide of how deep around I need to make this hole so that he could fit the eye into there. I'll do that on both sides. Okay, you'll see where I've got the eye drawn there and the eye drawn there. So let's do some routing. I may have to kick that up a little higher. Let's start slow. Basically, I'll stick it in the center of the hole. Get a little depth. Then I start to... Then I waller it out so that I've got an eye socket in there. And I can see it's just a little small. So. Okay, you can see the glass eye is setting in there just fine. So that's the right size. So let's go ahead and get the other side now. Turn the speed up a little bit more. Oh yeah. That fits in there, but I'm going to still give a little bit more of an edge over here. Okay. So I've wallered the holes out for the eyes. Oh, that's right. They said they're going to do siren testing today. Now I'm going to use a teardrop cutter to kind of shape the front of that socket slightly. That way it's not a straight just. When he sets an eye in there, he can put it at an angle and you'll get to see more of it at an angle. Oh yeah, siren test day. Okay, I'm going to go back to my pointy bit with this one, but I'm going to use the sander for some of the other work that I'm going to be doing here in just a minute. You know, you're constantly switching bits. Stubborn sometimes. Get these things out. Where'd I put it? There it is. I loosen it up enough? Oh, must not have. Then in that case, it was doing what it should be doing. Wow. There we go. Okay. There's my, I'll find the super fine point one. I know I got it in here. There. Okay, so I'm going back to my larger sander, and we're going to do some more shaping here. I want to shape more of the head here. I want to take a little bit more stock out down here, a little lower, so the eyes stand out a little bit more. I want to put a bit of a dip right between the eyes. Then I go under the bill. Another dip in there. And what I'm doing is I'm shaping the head as I go along here. Now I'm going to round off the wattle just a bit. It looks like I put that one eye just a little more forward than the other. Yep. Okay, so I've got this carved in here. I've got it shaped up. Clean my glasses off so I can see what in the hell I'm doing. Now I'm going to put a little bit more of an indent here. Then I'll put feathers. Basically, I'm going to put little grooves. I'm taking this bit. And I'm putting texture. On my eagle head. Make some grooves a little deeper, some just really fine. So you want to put texture. Onto the feathers. You do that on top and on the bottom. Then you've got your eagle head. So from this point here, I'm going to be doing some fine sanding on it. Knock some of that sawdust off. Hopefully you can see that a little better. So I've got it shaped up here. We've got the eye socket. I've got it textured. I've got the wattle pretty much done. I'm going to put a little shaping in here, some sanding. But this eagle is probably about 95% done right now. So I hope you all enjoyed that. It's a lot of fun doing this carving, and I hope you learned what to do. I'm going to do some finishing up, then I'll show you the finished product when I'm all finished. I'm going to do some of this hand sanding, other stuff off camera. But basically I'm going to sand the bill down smooth. I'm going to sand this wattle so that it's a little more wattle shaped, and it's got kind of a point over here. I'm going to smooth that off. Then I'll put a little more texture in it. And then we've got ourselves one carved eagle head. Here is the finished product. You see I've just set a glass eye in there so you can get an idea what that's going to look like. I think it looks pretty sharp. We've got a nice sharp pointy bill on that. Let me back out a little bit so you can get a better look at the entire cane. You'll see that's the crook of the cane. And when I zoom in here, I have got the finished product there. Well, I hope you folks enjoyed this video and you learned something from it. If you have any questions, just give me a call or send me an email. And that would be at scott@scottyjackson.com, and I would be happy to tell you what I've done. For now, thanks. We'll talk to you later.